So we'll wait for them to come, and then we are going to do some grounding breaths to get us into the mood.
There will only be blankets in there?
If there's no more blankets, unfortunately, there are no more available. What I'll do is I'll raise the temperature a little bit.
I have to. I'm always cold, but I can
I raise the temperature a little bit. Okay. So let's come into a straight posture. Our backs are straight. Hands are now on our knees. Let's go ahead and close our eyes down. Grounding ourselves into this present moment. Letting go of the things that we had to do to be here. Letting go of the things that we have to do when we leave here. And simply focusing your awareness and attention on your breath for a moment. Follow how the energy of the air goes in through the nose, down in through the lungs, and then back out. If any thoughts come through, simply bring your attention and focus back to the air, the breath. And take a deep inhale into the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last deep inhale, you're going to hold for 10 seconds. Deep inhale in. Place your attention and your focus on the beating of the heart against your chest. Slowly exhaling out the mouth. Breathing normally. Now begin to place your attention and your focus on the music that you hear. If your mind wanders thinking about other things, just bring it back to that point of focus. One of the key elements to meditation is to have a point of focus. Without that, your mind wants to linger and think about different things. So when you have that focus point, that drishti point, you can balance yourself and center yourself. And when you're ready, slowly opening the eyes, reacclimating yourself into the room. So that's grounding breath. Grounding breath is 2 short inhales, and then you exhale, and then you hold the breath for 10 seconds. So anytime that you feel like you're really stressful for whatever situation happens, say, give me a moment, let me step away for a second before I overreact, take some grounding breaths. You'll recenter yourself. Okay. So my name is David Rodriguez. I facilitate Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming classes. This is that class. I got into spirituality first and foremost through depression, through heartache, through heartbreak, heart growth, heart expansion, whatever word you want to use for that. In that space, I started hearing a certain voice that guided me, and it would say to me to meditate. And at that time, I was like, meditate? What is it? Why would I even do that? And I researched on YouTube, and I typed in meditation videos, and I listened to some meditation videos. And on the 3rd day of listening to meditation videos, I heard the word Reiki, and I never knew what Reiki was either. I had never heard that word before, but it was whispered to me. So when that happened, I then researched Reiki, and I found a Reiki master. So that set me on the path that I'm currently on now, which is learning more about myself, which is the same path that you guys are all on. We're all on the same path of just learning about each other, self-discovery. And during this path, I found a lot of different modalities, and one of them is Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming. I remember having lucid dreams when I was younger, and being with one of my aunt's fiance, my ex-fiance, and he would tell me that he could wake up inside of his dreams and control his dreams and do whatever he wants. And I always thought that was kind of like bullshit, because I was like, I can't do that. How can he do that? And that's the way that the mind likes to work. It's like, unless it's shown to us, then we won't believe it. It's a logical sided mind. So then I started reading books on lucid dreaming during that time. And because of a previous heartbreak, I forgot all the stuff that I read, and I went into a different cycle. But going back to the Reiki, going back to learning about astral projection, I learned that no one in South Florida that I knew of was teaching this type of work. And I wanted to take it upon myself to do so. I wanted to start holding that space for people. And I've been at this for now, I'd say a little over 4 years. This is probably about over 140th class plus that I've facilitated, either through yoga studios, one-on-one sessions, or at festivals. I enjoy teaching a lot at festivals because there's a lot more crowd, and you can see how much of a difference and how much of an impact. Same with one-on-one sessions too, actually. So never mind. Forget what I said there.
What about everything else in the middle?
Everything else in the middle. Everything. I can see the progress of it. And I've heard so many different stories, and I love being able to facilitate this space for the reason of I get to witness every single person that experiences it, and I get to hear their story, rather than you experiencing it and you never hearing about anyone else ever sharing that story. So I get to hear all different sides of things. And I think that's an awesome tool to have that knowledge bank. So that's a bit about me. So now I want to open the field, or open the session, to have you guys introduce yourself, your first and last name, and your purpose for wanting to learn these modalities. And you have to be clear on the purpose, because if you're not clear on your why, it's going to be a lot more difficult to experience these things. So you have to have a set purpose in mind. Is it to see your higher self? Is it to speak to a deceased relative? Is it to just explore the cosmos? Be very precise as to why you want to have these things, why you want to experience this. Okay? Cool.
I'm Claudia Cador, and I found you today, quite coincidentally and gratefully. Synchronicity. I have an interest in astral projection, lucid dreaming, and all that for quite some time. I had a lot of success with ketamine, but I would like to do it more naturally, so I'm going to learn more about how I can do it under that.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Carlos Murray. I've been in the spirituality path, if you will, for maybe a couple of years. Done quite a bit of plant medicine. I got into meditation, mindfulness about a year ago. It's great. I do it every day, at least 15 minutes, and it's been great for me. And the reason I'm here is for the same reason that I, do other types of work, is to, always find joy in what I'm doing in my life, just find balance, and to give me the wisdom to advance in every aspect of my life in a balanced way.
Awesome. I like that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Benel. I don't know if I can say that I've been in spiritual, discovery of things. I actually here because of him. I haven't done meditation before. For me, it's very hard to. It's not that hard to be concentrated, but to keep focus. It's difficult. I have done plant medicine like a couple of times, or 2 times because of him. And
We're married.
Okay.
Luring her into anything,
Okay. Well, I want to make a point, though, just before you continue. I know you say it's because of him, but actually, you chose this internally before he even offered that to you.
I obviously saw some changes in him, right? So I wanted to explore a little more, like at the beginning as curiosity, and try to figure out like how does it work, and how, not a why, but how does it, right? I'm a very logical so there sometimes are black or white, and very radical sometimes, or very mental. And I try to always fix that and be more open, also talking with more compassion, not necessarily with other people, but even for myself. That is, I'm very hard with me. So, as I said, I saw the changes, and I want to go on exploring more for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you.
Villa, I go back home. I read a book about, it's called Multidimensional Traveler. It's a very spiritual book. I'm Catholic, but I'm interested in this, whatever language you want to put it in, because I've experienced, like you said, lucid dreaming. I didn't even know this class talked about it, but what was interesting is to be able to feel the different. One night it was really scary. I actually had a very, like, I was trying, like, the book was saying if you want to have positive thoughts, think some gold stream, whatever. And I started doing it. And as soon as I had that, and I said to myself, forgive, whoever I was angry at. And as soon as I did that, big black thing just like scared the heck out of me. I woke up, I was like, forget that, I'm not ready. So I said, I want to learn about this. Let me come to this class where you control anything that can happen between them and there. Because when I woke up, I'm not ready for that. I'm in that phase where I'm still struggling, and I have to overcome it. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Netta. I've practiced Reiki for the past 15 years. I'm a self-learner. I love the spiritual world. The intention of today's class is the same. David and I had one-on-one session a few days ago. It's still the same. I want to learn how to listen to my intuition more and have my mind and the analytical aspect of it a little bit more. I'm working on my intuition.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paula. I started my spiritual path about a year and a half ago. A little bit about Tantra and meditation, very powerful, and I came to your class about a year and a half ago here. I didn't have like an out-of-body experience, but I found it very, very powerful. I remember the coconut shells cracked
Yeah.
for most of us, and when you came back to pour the tea, it was like fun. But I guess the reason why I'm here is just to find out more about myself and the cosmos, and it's something that is just like I'm eager to learn, to experience, just like I'm drawn to it.
Awesome. Have you practiced anything from what you learned from last class up until now? Like, did you do any of those practices?
I did take the tea like 2 weeks. You gave us the tea back.
Okay.
2 weeks later, and then I did the class. I
Awesome.
haven't practiced much, but
Okay.
now.
Now's the time. Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel de la Cruz. The reason I'm here today, well, she told me about this, but nevertheless, I have always been interested in how the mind works, about dreams, and every so often I have insomnia, or I have weird dreams, very vivid. They're not scary, they're just really vivid, like if I was there actually, like if it was another world. It's a topic I sometimes read about, like in the spare time, like dreams, mind, or there's this sleep paralysis also. Yeah, those are topics that we don't experience that much, but they're really intriguing.
Yes. A lot of students from the past have had sleep paralysis, and a common story that they've shared is they see shadow people. They see these shadow beings at the foot of their bed. So I'll go over that as well. But anything else you would like to share?
About this?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm open for this. Really.
Thank you, brother.
Hello, my name's Richard Parry. I'm here because of my friend Annette. She's staying at mine for a few weeks. I've completely changed my lifestyle this year. I've moved to Miami and I've changed my diet and no longer smoking, and I'm looking into new avenues. My friends practicing crystals and different energies, and having Annette at my apartment, she has been talking about this and different stuff, and I'm just very open to trying new things. I suffer with anxiety and stress quite a lot. I started yoga last year, which has helped quite a lot. I just want to venture into new things and try things out.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
What style of yoga are you practicing?
Yeah.
What style of yoga are you practicing?
No, I downloaded this app. It's called Daily Yoga, and you pay like a yearly subscription fee, and all teachers from all over the world post video blogs and their yoga practices online. So I've just been doing various things from around the world.
Very cool. Can I recommend two different styles for you to learn?
Yeah.
One of them that I practiced for a whole year is called Kundalini Yoga. It's very awesome.
Okay.
It works with like the chakra system and a lot of breath work. And then the second one, which goes hand in hand with Kundalini, I feel, is Ashtanga. I feel like Kundalini is the feminine and Ashtanga is the masculine. So when you combine those together in a practice, it's really awesome.
Okay.
Cool. So we're going to continue on. So I want everyone to take a moment and just look around the room. Have eye contact with everyone here, because there's no such thing as coincidence. There's no such thing as, oh, I just so happen to be here at this time, at this exact moment and location. We're all different beings from the same source consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. And for whatever reason, in this particular moment, we have decided to meet in this location at this time so that we can grow together, so that you can teach me and I can teach you. So take that moment to acknowledge how beautiful this synchronicity is by just looking into another person's eyes and saying in your mind, I see you, I acknowledge you. And just do that for a couple people. And just in silence. And notice what you feel when you're doing this. What comes up for you. Does uncomfortability come up? Does nervousness come up? Does anxiety come up? Because, oh no, this person's going to see me. Or does love and compassion come up? Awesome. How did that moment feel for you guys? You don't have to share, I just want to ask. Okay, gotcha. So, we're going to move on. So the two subjects are lucid dreaming and astral projection. I first like to talk about lucid dreaming so that we can see that there's a segue from lucid dreaming to astral projection. You can actually use lucid dreaming techniques to have an out-of-body experience. So, does anyone here not know what a lucid dream is? No? Awesome. But I'm going to explain it anyways. Lucid dreaming is when you wake up inside your dream and you realize, oh, okay, I'm in a dream. I can do whatever I want. I remember the first time I had that, and I got so excited that I woke myself up out of bed. The same thing I just said will happen in an out-of-body experience. If you feel your sensation of your body or your awareness coming out of the body and you become excited from it, you will pop back into your body. It's just the way it is. You have to learn how to manage that. And the other thing to take note, well actually, I'm going on tangents, but I want to say this. The other thing to take note of is, for you people have you felt that you fell out of the bed, like it's as if you're falling out of the bed? That's a sensation of you about to have an out-of-body experience, but fear took hold, and you're like, nope, I'm back in my body, and you're all of a sudden back in your bed again. But going to the lucid dreams again. So there's an easy way to actually program yourself to have a lucid dream. The easiest way that I've come across in my experience is periodically throughout your day, you're going to ask yourself a simple question. And it is, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming right now? Is this a dream? The answer in all realities anyways, it's going to be yes, because this is a dream too. We're just now becoming conscious. We're just now stepping into the spiritual path. We're just now understanding how powerful we really are, how powerful our thoughts are, how powerful our emotions behind the thoughts are. We're waking up in this dream. But you can condition yourself to ask that question, am I dreaming, when you're actually in a dream state, in a different state than this state. And what will happen is, as you're in that state, you'll ask that same question. And you look around in your environment and you're like, oh, crap, this is a dream. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to go fly somewhere. I'm going to go do something. So that's an easy way to program yourself to have a lucid dream. There's also some herbs to assist with it. If you have difficulty remembering your dreams, first, stop smoking marijuana if you want to remember your dreams. I'm not knocking marijuana. I love it. It's awesome. I love the feeling of it. But if you want to work more in your dreams, take a break from it for a couple days and watch your dreams come back. The other thing too is there's an herb called mugwort, mugwort. If you make it into a tea or smoke it before bed, and the same day you don't smoke marijuana, you will remember your dreams a lot more vividly, and it'll increase the chances of you having a lucid dream as well. So it's mugwort, mugwort. Okay, mugwort is actually in this tea that we're going to be drinking. There's 12 different herbs that are in this tea, and I'll go over all those as well. But so mugwort, and there's cool things that you can do in the dream state. But what I consider the dream state is it's our training ground for our mind. What do I mean by that? All the different emotions that we feel in this environment, in this reality, that come up through anger, jealousy, insecurity, any negative emotions that you feel like you don't want to feel. You all of a sudden put it under the rug, and you're like, I'll worry about that later. Every single time you do that, you're invalidating your experience, you're invalidating your emotions. And because of this, when you dream, you are now going to experience a dream that brings out that emotion that you invalidated. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? I can say it a different way. So say, for example, me personally, in my experience, I've been dealing with heartbreak, because of an ex and I broke up. So I have a lot of sadness. I have a lot of anger towards it too, that I'm healing. So because of that, there's some of the sadness that sometimes I don't want to feel it because it's so strong. And what will end up happening is, in my dream state, I'll have dreams of her to bring up that sadness, and then I wake up and I start crying, right? So that's an experience. That's an emotion that I'm invalidating, and all of a sudden it gets created in the dream state. So it'll happen with any emotion that you are not giving your 100% in it. And that may answer your question as to why you're having those other dreams before, because you had mentioned in the beginning of the class that you had some weird dreams, right? So I don't know if that answered that question. But so the dreams, I consider them to be the playground or the training ground for our mind, for our emotions. Another way to look at it is, I have a lot of dreams where I feel like I get tested to see what my level of consciousness is, to see what I would do in a test environment given certain abilities or certain abilities through my hands. Like maybe I could bend water, or maybe I could levitate things in the dream. And in the dream, I'll be tested to see at what point will I use it to benefit my ego, to benefit certain aspects of that. So it's a training ground. Now, an analogy that I'm going to use is, if anyone here has ever watched Star Trek, there is a thing called the holodeck room in Star Trek, okay? So the holodeck room is a room that you step in through the doorway, and the door closes, and all of a sudden everything in this room feels like it's real. It's a computer simulation, but you knew it stepping into the door. You were awake stepping into the door. When you dream, you fall asleep the moment you step into the door. You're in a holodeck room. You can condition your mind to wake up in the holodeck room, to wake up in the lucid dream state, to realize, oh, I'm in a computer simulation. I can do whatever I want. That's how you have a lucid dream, right? So once you realize that you're in a lucid dream state, you can create a door, and you can step through the door, and then you can have an out-of-body experience. You're no longer in the holodeck room. You're now stepping into the rest of the ship, into the rest of the world, whatever it is that you want to step into, And it's up to you to decide where that door is going to lead you to, because you are conscious in the dream state at this point, hypothetically, right? So usually when that would happen, you would create a door to your bedroom. And the moment you step in through your door, you now see your physical body laying down, sleeping. And that's how you can have an out-of-body experience. That's just one way. That's probably a more difficult way, in my opinion, but it's possible. Okay? Any questions? No? Okay. So, and then astral projection is simply your awareness is now out of this physical body. You can project your awareness outside of the body. Because in reality, we are everything that we see. We are this empty space experiencing itself through this physical body. So by you placing your attention and creating something to project yourself onto or out of, you can have that experience. And we do it through visualization tactics. Once you get into a trance state, there are 4 different stages to having an out-of-body experience, in my opinion. The first stage is relaxation. So you want to relax the body completely. You want to lay in a space where nothing is going to bother you for a certain amount of time. Usually give yourself like an hour and a half to practice this. And you keep the body as still as possible. The reason why you want to keep the body still is because if you don't keep the body still, you're going to dissipate the energy that you're feeling. You're going to dissipate the different sensations that you're feeling. Another way to say it is, if you are a photographer and you use the aperture of a camera and leave the aperture of a camera open for a certain period of time, you absorb more light. When you leave the body still for a certain period of time, you'll start to feel things that you normally would not feel if you keep the body still enough. Does that make sense? Okay? So what ends up happening is when you keep the body as still as possible is you'll begin to feel tingly sensations, or you'll begin to feel itching sensations. What I've realized from that, when you feel the itching sensations, is we have these things called meridian lines, energetic flows of rivers of water flowing through our body at all times, chi, whatever you want to call it. By keeping the body still for a certain amount of time, you're going to begin to feel the flow of your body. You're going to begin to feel how your energy moves, what sensations you're feeling. And when you do that, you're going to begin to feel like an itching sensation in a certain location, because that area, there's a blockage. So you think by itching it physically, I'm going to remove that itch. But if you do some research and you type into Google that no 2 physical objects ever touch, there's a bunch of articles out about it. So meaning, no 2 physical objects ever touch. It looks like it feels like it, but there's always space in between these 2 sections. Even when I go to touch someone else, there's always going to be space in between. So what is the thing that's actually touching? It's energy. It's the field that this particular body has that is interacting with other fields that it has. So if you take that principle and you understand that no 2 physical objects touch, what is itching this going to do? It's not going to do anything. But it does, because you use the energy from one fingertip to move the energy of the itching sensation, which alleviates the blockage, which alleviates the itching sensation. So I just want to be clear with that. Whenever you feel an itching sensation when you go into meditation, see if you can do your best to not itch that sensation, and instead bring your attention and focus to that spot and visualize either water running through, like a river running through, and you see the dam, you see that thing there that is blocking it, and just visualize it going through, like so much pressure is going through, and all of a sudden the itch will go away. Okay? Questions? No? Okay. So that's stage 1 is relaxation. And we get to the relaxation stage by doing a practice called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra we're going to be doing for the 45-minute remaining portion of this class. Yoga Nidra is basically you're going to be focusing on your different body parts that I mentioned. So I'll say, for example, focus on your right thumb. As all of your attention and focus goes to the right thumb, in your mind, you're going to say relax and let go. And I'm going to remind you of this anyways. I'm just saying what we're going to be doing. So you go through each body part. So that way you have a point of reference to focus on. You have a drishti point. So if your mind wanders and lingers, oh, I have to do this, or my ex is this, or my girlfriend's that, or my boss is this and that, you bring your focus back. You bring your focus back to the body part. Relax and let go. What this is doing, it's building your willpower. You have to have strong willpower to will yourself out of the body. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So you have to have that will, that internal strength to will yourself. So we're building up that willpower by doing Yoga Nidra. So as we go through the whole body parts, we do our best to keep the mind alert and engaged, but our body begins to relax, sinking deeper into the ground, going into a trance-like state. Okay, but you're maintaining your focus and listening and still hearing what's going on outside of you. So then stage 2 comes. Stage 2 is when you begin to feel the tinglies, how I mentioned before, or the itching sensations. Usually when you first start this, you may only feel tingly sensations to the fingertips, the hands, the feet. You may feel a buzzing sensation at the top of the crown or the forehead. For those of you who only feel a certain location of your body that has that tingly sensation, my advice is when you get into the 3rd stage, which is visualization, only visualize that portion of your body rising or falling below the ground. Okay? If you want to challenge yourself and go a little further, see if you can visualize your whole body moving up or down. But I'm going to go over the visualization exercise as well. So you want to ideally have that tingly sensation or that vibration feeling throughout your entire body before you go into visualization. Okay? Because you're starting to feel your energetic body. And it's, imagine, have you ever seen those experiments that they did on sound and sand, and when the sound moves the sand a certain way, like certain, do you know some people know what I'm talking about? Okay, so that's what happens to you when you vibrate and you get into different states, different mental states. Your body's vibrating differently, so it's creating different things in the body, which allows you to actually come out of the physical body. It allows your awareness to come out. Stage 3 is visualization. The visualization technique that we're going to be doing tonight, and this is not a mandatory technique, but I will recommend it because everyone is going to have their own unique key when they do a visualization technique. And what I mean by that, by a key, is every person is different, every person is unique. So you have your own unique way to enter and exit the body. Okay? So for example, I've had a couple students that would be in a visualization technique that I would recommend, and for some reason their intuitive thought told them, hey, ask your deceased grandma to assist you out of your body. And they visualized that. They told me after the class, I visualized my deceased relative come and lift me up out of my body, and it helped me. It lifted me up. I was able to have an out-of-body doing that. So that was her key. Her key was her relative in that moment. So this all goes back to the phrase that you create your reality. Who has heard that phrase before? Most of you? Some of you? Okay. So that phrase, you create your reality, it's not you create your own reality for only this portion of life. No, you create your reality 100%. Everything that you ever experienced, sadness, abuse. I've been sexually abused. I've been physically abused. I've been bullied. I've been, I've had all those experiences. And I know now why I had those experiences. Because I was strong enough to hold those energies. I was strong enough to hold that anger that people wanted to project onto me so that I can transmute it for them because they didn't know how to do it. They didn't know how to transmute that stuff themselves. So now I'm an active speaker on sexual abuse, on emotional abuse, on bullying, because it made me a very strong person to speak out in that way. But I know I created all of it. So that's what I'm saying, is that you create your reality 100% of the time. So start taking ownership of certain things or certain resentments that you may have towards people or experiences, and take ownership of it. Ask yourself first, why am I creating this? Or why did I create that experience? What did I learn from that experience? And that will take you through the course of finally letting go of that experience that you had in the past, so that you can begin remembering that you do create your reality. So visualization is remembering that that you create your reality. So you use your imagination, the God gift that we're given. Imagination allows us to create. It allows us to push forward, to propel. So the visualization that we do is you visualize what you looked like before you closed your eyes. Wearing the same clothes that you're wearing, the colors, as detailed as you possibly can. And you're doing this as your back is laid on the ground. And as you recreate your body, you begin recreating what you saw around you. Recreate these lights, these, I don't know what those things are called, but those things. Recreate all those things in your mind. You want to be as detailed as you possibly can when you do this. So that way, you're in that space, you see it in your mind, you're using your imagination, you're engaging. And by that time, you've already gone through Yoga Nidra, your willpower is good, you're listening to the voice, you're listening to your body, and then you begin visualizing, seeing that version of you that you created beginning to float up or float down or rock left or rock right. And it is all dependent on what you feel resonates for you. But in this class, I recommend that everyone does the same visualization of just recreating your physical body and rising or falling. And the association that you want to make when you do that is, remember what it was like when you were a child and you jumped up in the air. That sensation right before you hit the ground, like that little sensation in the stomach. It's like, oh, yes. Actually, let's do that right now. I want everyone to stand up. Stand up right now. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Okay. Listen to the music for a moment. Go back into your memory when you were a child. Just pull up any memory, the greatest memory that you had when you were a kid. And when you find it, I want you to jump up in the air. Okay? I'm going to jump up right now. So just on 3 if you want to do it on the countdown. So 1, 2, 3. Let's jump off in the air. Okay, we'll do it a couple more times. Just to jump up in the air. One more time. Okay. Do you know what sensation I'm talking about now? That feeling in the stomach, right before you hit the ground. Does anyone not know what I'm talking about yet? No? Okay. So we have to have that point of reference to know when we want to physically come out of the body. Associate that feeling that you had of that jumping up. That's what you want to mimic in your mind. Okay? Right. Have a seat. Okay. So, and then the final stage of astral projection would be having an out-of-body experience. It's finally stepping out. And from there, one of two things usually happens. Either you get super excited or super scared, and you go back into your body, or you experience and you run around and you do different things and you get pulled to different directions. Maybe your higher self is like, hey, you're here, let's go do something. It's up to you when you're in that space. Okay. So now I want to talk about what time is it? Okay. So now I want to talk about there's things that you can do to step into another person's dream. So you're having a lucid dream, but you can step into another person's dream. Same thing works with astral projection. You can meet other people in this realm. I was part of a collective online that we had built this, I guess you can call it like a sanctuary in the astral realm. And we used a symbol which is called a sigil, S-I-G-I-L. And this sigil was a co-created symbol that anytime that you would write it on your hand before you would go into the experience or go into the practice of out-of-body or lucid dreaming, you'd write it on your hand. So that way you would use that as a bookmark to take you to the location of where it was. You understand what I'm saying? No? Not yet? Okay. So a sigil is a symbol that you give it a specific meaning. You give it a specific intention. On my book cover, that is a sigil. Meaning, the only real currency when you think about it, even logically if you want to think about it, the only real currency we have in this physical life is time, which is funny because after this, there's no time. It's not relevant. So think about it. It takes time to do something. When you invest your energy into something, you translate your time into money. So everything, the root of everything is just time, wherever you dedicate your focus and attention on. So if you dedicate your attention and focus on a hobby, or you want to learn to play an instrument, it takes time. You're paying in time. You're paying in your essence. When you program something, when you begin to create symbology for the subconscious using a sigil, you're feeding it energy. You're giving it your time. You're giving it your awareness. And you would program a sigil through collective consciousness. What is collective consciousness? It is a collective belief about what this specific item or object means. For example, an amethyst crystal. What immediately comes to you when I say an amethyst crystal? Purple. What else? What does it represent, that crystal? If anyone here is familiar with crystals. Intuition, psychic abilities. Amethyst is third eye. That's the association. And if you look up any crystal books, that is the collective consciousness behind the crystal. It's not the crystal that's giving that energy. It's the collective consciousness that we assign to what it means. So when you use a sigil that has a collective consciousness behind the meaning of it, and you draw it on yourself, you are... Ooh, this actually goes into the next topic. Yes, I like it when that happens. So you use a sigil as a label, a container. A label for a container. For a container of what? For a container of water. Here we have water. Is anyone here familiar with Dr. Masaru Emoto? Some of you. So Dr. Masaru Emoto is a Japanese scientist that came out with the studies that show when you apply intention into water, you change the molecular structure of the water. The logical mind is like, bullshit. I don't believe it. I didn't believe it either until I started labeling my bottles of water, labeling my glass containers of water with certain intentions, and then I would drink it and I would see the effects of it. Believe it or not, we are 70 to 80% water. So with that scientific discovery, with that discovery itself, and the way that he proved it, by the way, is he would take water that he had spoken to, both positive and negative quotes, and he would freeze it and look under a microscope and see what it would look like. The positive ones, with the collective consciousness about what that word would mean, the frozen water looked very beautiful, very, very symmetrical. The ones that he cursed at and yelled at looked very chaotic and didn't have any uniformity. It wasn't symmetrical at all. Consider that we are 70 to 80% water again. This physical flesh that we have is the container in which holds the water in us. When you apply a label, i.e. a tattoo, you are programming your vessel with the intention of what that tattoo represents. Same thing goes with sigils or symbols. You don't have to tattoo it on you, but it's on your body, and it has a specific intention of what that tattoo meant or what that symbol meant. So now you're aligning yourself to that frequency to vibrate at that level. Does that make sense now? Somewhat? Okay. So this collective would use a sigil, which a sigil can be any shape. It can be a triangle with a dot in the center. It could be a triangle with 3 dots on all 3 corners. Whatever it is that you want to make as the symbol, you make it first, and then you begin to assign the meaning behind it. All right, what does this symbol mean to me? This symbol means to me that anytime I see this sigil or this symbol, that I want to now go into your dream. But you have to agree. So then I would show you the sigil. Hey, this sigil right here, anytime that we both use it, we're making an agreement that I can step into your dream and you can step into mine. And then I would say, do you agree? And then you would say yes or no. And then you and I would begin to use that sigil, meditate with it, utilize it, sometimes draw it on our hand, and then play with it. Even though the logical mind is like, I don't know if I believe that. If you play with it, just like when you were a child, when you play with your imagination, little by little, those things end up getting created. Same with even in real life or adult life. You have to imagine something in order for it to happen first, right? So you have to think about it first for it to occur. So that's the way that you do it, is you use a symbolic representation of what the intention means. And the symbolic representation, the sigil, programs the subconscious to do so. It makes the subconscious believe it's possible. So this collective utilized that symbol to go to different places. They would use it as bookmarks. You can have agreements with each other here in this room. Hey, let's create a sigil together so that we can step into each other's dreams and talk to each other. Like, I've done it. It's awesome. It's really fun to do. I had an experience that some guy I didn't even know stepped into my dream. I never gave him permission verbally in this world, but he stepped into my dream and he looked at me and he said, that tea that you're making for people, add thyme to it. THYME, an herb. And I woke up remembering that, and I now add thyme to the tea. Thyme is a protective herb. They say it dispels like evil energies. So that's one of the reasons I guess they told me to add it to it. So any questions of what I've gone over so far? You guys are talkative. Okay, so I'm going to go over what is in the tea itself. So this tea, this has been a period of, I'd say 3 or 4 years of making the herbal blend, because I first started just using mugwort. Mugwort, I've already mentioned, it's good to have before you go to bed to remember your dreams. So I'm not going to go over each individual herb in terms of what the functionality is, but I'll pick and choose which ones I feel will benefit you guys to learn it from. So there is mugwort, gotu kola. Gotu kola is really good for deeper states of meditation and relaxation. Holy basil, blue vervain, which in Wicca or witchcraft, and I say that word very loosely because people have a negative connotation of witchcraft, which is just whatever it is. But it's just an herb. It's to amplify the intention of a ritual, which we're going to be performing a ritual today. We're going to be putting our energy into the cup of water of what we want to manifest. Okay, so it amplifies the intention of whatever the spell is, I guess you could say. Caliazaca de Chichi, which is a Mexican dream herb, very bitter. Wormwood, also another bitter one. Stevia. If I didn't add stevia, those last two would be very, very bitter, and you would taste it. Stevia is a sweetener. Passion flower. I add ormus to it as well. If you're not familiar with ormus, ormus is another name for it, monoatomic gold or white powder gold. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically made from Dead Sea salt and sodium hydroxide. You use a process to extract the essential minerals from Dead Sea salt, and you turn it into either a powder form or a liquid form, and when you ingest it, it gets you into a very clear space mentally. And it's been around for a very long time. You can do your research and go to Google and type in benefits of ormus or what is ormus, ORMUS. I also add colloidal silver to this. I make my own colloidal silver. If you're not sure what that is, colloidal silver is a natural antibiotic. It kills viruses, bacteria, and funguses. The reason why I add it is just for health benefits, just to make sure everything is sanitary. Okay. Lavender is in it, and I believe that's it. I'm not sure if I said 12, but those are the ones I remember. Oh, the last one, I got it. Blue lotus. Blue lotus is an awesome herb to smoke by itself or to make into a tea by itself too. I actually just made an elixir yesterday or the day before using red wine and blue lotus. Egyptians, when they would have wine or red wine, they would take blue lotus and they would leave it in containers of red wine for a period of a couple days, shaking it each day. And when they drank the wine after they filtered it out, it gave them similar sensations as if they were taking Molly or ecstasy, just using an herb and mixing it with wine. So throwing that out there if you guys want to experience that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I have some blue lotus now.
So yeah, you have to let it soak for 3 days. So let it soak for 3 days and then enjoy. Okay. And then the water itself. The water, I have a reverse osmosis filter so that it takes out all the impurities of the water, because in our municipal system there is a lot of chemicals in our water. There's chlorine, there's fluoride, which fluoride, I can go on and talk for a lot about fluoride, but fluoride is very harmful for the body. You don't want to have that, even though they say it's good for your teeth. Don't do it. So reverse osmosis takes out all the impurities of the water. I re-add trace minerals into it. I add Himalayan pink salt into the water. I use different crystals as well to raise the vibration of the water. There's actually a specific crystal that I use if you want to begin structuring your water, called an anhydro quartz crystal. It's a quartz crystal that when it formed thousands of years ago, you can still see water inside of it. So what that is, it's the original vibration of what water used to be before we started contaminating our water. So by you putting it in another object of water, it'll raise the vibration to the original blueprint of what that water was before all the stuff that we did to the water. Okay, everything just works on frequency and vibration. I like to look at it as numbers. So this crystal has a certain number, and that number is high because it has something in it that is thousands of years old. I associate that to having great power. So now I'm going to put this in water that has a certain number, and it's going to raise it to that level. Okay. Any questions or concerns of what I've gone over so far?
I was thinking of something we talked way earlier. It's okay. You said about dreams. It's something that you process that you're throwing under the rug. What do you think about dreams being symbolic? Because I'm always looking up dreams online, and it's always almost symbolic. It's not, you're not supposed to take it literally. Do you agree?
I agree. Dreams, yeah, there's a lot of symbology in dreams too. I think in my reality though, I've begun to associate dreams to just being training myself for my emotions, because my goal is I want to be able to master my emotions fully so that I don't react towards anything and I respond towards things. So I think I made my dream state in that way. But yeah, there's a lot of symbology in it. But I mean, there's symbology behind everything that you look at. Life is inherently meaningless unless you give it a meaning. So I can look at that drape right there and I'm like, oh, I saw that drape when I was 12 years old, and now I'm associating that drape to eating watermelons. I don't know why. That's just I could associate that with anything. But symbology the mind. What I'm saying is basically your mind will make any effort to bring meaning to what it is that you're experiencing, so that you can benefit your own growth. And it all comes down to your own growth. What are you going to create for yourself so that you can propel yourself forward in your reality? And that's what symbology is, I feel. So. Sure. Yeah. Is there any questions of stuff that I have not gone over that you may have concerns or questions about? No? Okay. Well, I do want to talk about the one specific time that I had sleep paralysis. Actually, that gets me into sleep paralysis too. So sleep paralysis is basically when you are sleeping and you wake up and all of a sudden you're not able to move your body. You can move your eyes, you're not able to speak, but you can just look around and you have no control of your body. If you ever get this experience, to take yourself out of it, if you're in a heightened state of fear, change the way that you're breathing. Usually, you'll be breathing at a fast pace because it's scaring you. Slow your breath down, change the pattern of breathing. By changing your pattern of breathing, you send a signal to your brain to wake up the rest of your body. Okay? I had an experience before I did any of this work, and I had sleep paralysis, and I was house sitting with an ex of mine at her aunt's house, and I woke up between 2 and 4 in the morning, and I all of a sudden see I wasn't able to move, and all of a sudden I see this black ball. It was like a mechanical ball, probably the size of that, and it was coming out of the wall, and it had all these weird lights on it, and it went over to where her and I were laying, and it began scanning our bodies with a green light. And then afterwards, it went back into the wall, and I gained control of my body again. And And I was like, what the hell just happened? And I woke her up, and she's like, you're going crazy. You didn't see that. It was just a dream. I'm like, no, it's not a dream. I know what I experienced. I would never forget that experience. The reason why I'm sharing it is because what happens when you're in a sleep paralysis state is you're essentially seeing the different things that you normally wouldn't see, which is the astral realm or the other realms that are around us. But you're still in your physical body, so you're not able to do much about it. But once you bring awareness to your physical body, you'll take yourself out of that space. A lot of times when people have sleep paralysis, they'll see the dark beings or the shadow beings or these weird dark figures. I personally feel that those things are just shadow aspects of you, wanting your attention, wanting your love. For people who feel like you have to protect yourselves from something, in those instances, if you feel fear, just create this light that emanates in all directions, pushing everything away. Okay? Because if we create our reality, if you believe this, there's nothing that we have to protect ourselves from. Meaning, by me thinking I have to protect myself, and I'll give you an example of my own life. I used to have a lot of different guns. I had 3 different guns. I had a Beretta 92 FS, 9mm. I had an AR-15, and I had a Tika T3 long-range rifle. And I taught myself how to survive, be a survivalist. I taught myself how to make my own ammo, because I was in this huge heightened state of awareness, or heightened state of fear, thinking that the financial system's going to collapse, the government's going to collapse, government this, government that. And then I started using the practices that I have, realizing that if I create my reality, by me owning these things, I am then creating the things that I have to use them for. I am creating the reality of which I would have to protect myself from if I had those things. Because I'm aligning myself to that vibration. I'm aligning myself to that space. The reason I'm sharing this is if you're in a fear state and you're in the out-of-body experience, those are the things that you're going to experience. You're going to experience things that scare you, and you might pop into your body again. So start paying attention to your emotional state in this space, being the master of it, or doing your best of it, so that when you're in that space, it's easier for you to bring yourself out of fear. It's easier for you to bring yourself back to the state of awareness that everything you're seeing, even in that space, is no difference. If you see an entity that you think is evil, just know it's an aspect of you, that no harm could ever come to you from it. Okay, cool. So now we're going to do the tea ceremony. Can I have some people help me pass the teas out, please? You're not going to drink the tea just yet, so we're all going to drink the tea together. Whoever you pass this one to, make sure that they know about that hole.
Okay.
Oh no, hers had a little hole in it, so I wanted to make sure that you knew about it. And there's a reason why I'm using coconut shells for the most part. I started out with 200 coconut shells when I started doing this stuff. I now only have these shells that you see. And it is because a lot of times when I do this, the shells crack. The shells, I have no idea. It might be the energy. People think it's the energy. People think it's the liquid. Don't know. But the shells will crack. So I use the shells because when I was experiencing my depression that turned me on to spirituality, I found a place, it was a kava bar, and they would, everyone good? I found the kava bar, and they would serve the kava out of the shells. So it's like in my way of reminding myself that I've come that far. That's why I use the coconut shells. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little ritual with the water, with the tea, with the plant medicine. We're We're going to place our left hand below the cup, the right hand above the cup. Go ahead and begin to close your eyes. And take a deep inhale in through the nose. Exhaling out the mouth. Grounding yourself into this present moment. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhaling out the mouth. Last deep inhale, you're going to hold for 10 seconds like before. Deep inhale in. Slowly exhaling out the mouth. Breathing normally. Still keeping the eyes closed. Begin to bring your attention and your focus where your brain is located. All of your focus goes to that spot, the top of the head, the middle of the head. And using your imagination, the God gift that we're given, begin visualizing a ball of white light, the size of a golf ball. Another name for it is Qi. Qi ball. They practice this in Qigong. So create that ball of light in the center of the brain. Every inhale you take, using the imagination, visualize it expand. Every exhale you take, visualizing it contract back to its original size. What you're creating right now is called a thought form. A conscious thought form that you're going to program. Normally we create these thought forms on a subconscious level, on an unconscious level, and they represent the emotions that we don't want to feel. And they linger and they float around us. But in this instance, we're going to program this thought form with a specific intention. So to do so, I invite you now to begin visualizing something that you want to gain, something that you want to manifest by having this experience. Maybe just more clarity, more wisdom, more understanding of yourself, more peace. Whatever it is, decide what it is and see yourself experiencing it. Witness yourself living in that moment. Maybe it's 20 minutes from now, maybe it's an hour from now, 2 hours from now. See yourself living there. What do you look like? What does it feel like? Do you feel complete? And as you're doing this, automatically that thought form, that ball of light is being programmed. It's listening, it's observing. Begin to bring your focus and awareness back to the ball of light in the center of the brain. Begin visualizing that ball of light moving down the neck, following it, moving down the neck. Begin seeing it move to the center of the chest. Pausing there for a moment as all of your awareness and attention is on that spot. Noticing what you feel in this moment. There's no place else to be. Now in the mind, begin visualizing that ball of light moving through the left shoulder, following it, moving down the arm, until it's in the palm of your left hand, that ball of light that you've been following, that is now programmed with that intention. witnessing that ball of light go into the container of water, merging with the water itself. Setting the frequency, the tone for this liquid. The plant medicines, all here to serve you, all here to assist you in your growth in this moment. Taking a deep inhale into the nose. Exhaling out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last deep inhale, holding for 10 seconds. Deep inhale in. Exhaling out the mouth, breathing normally. When you're ready, slowly opening the eyes, looking down towards the container of water that you're holding. Place your right hand under the left and just observe the liquid that's in the hand, that's in the cup. This is the element of water, the element that teaches us to face our emotions, to feel our emotions freely. We are water beings. We were born into water. In the mother's womb, there was water always around us. So this is what you're looking at as an aspect of you. Truly understand that this is a part of you. And out loud in your mind, whichever you choose, begin to say the following affirmations to the water, acknowledging it, thanking it for its space that it's holding for us in this moment. And it's simply, thank you, water. I love you, water. And say it as if you were to say it to a loved one. What that would feel like. And when you're ready, in your own time and in your own way, begin to drink the contents of the cup. As you do, I recommend closing the eyes, following how the liquid goes down into the throat, into the stomach. Once complete, placing the cup on the ground and keeping the eyes closed and just seeing what you feel. Once complete, just focus your awareness on the body, keeping the eyes closed. There's no place else to be. This time is for you. Helps, choose to focus your awareness on the body part or on the breath. Just to be present with the sensations that you're feeling, if anything. Take a deep inhale into the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Another deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last inhale, holding for 10 seconds. Just notice where your thoughts are going. normally. And when you're ready, slowly opening the eyes, reacclimating yourself into the room. So the LSD is going to hit in about 10 minutes. So I'm joking. I say that every class. I have to get some laughter in there. I feel like laughter actually activates or finishes the ritual for a lot of it. Okay. So you are welcome to have seconds, or if you want to just have as much as you want before we go into the practice itself. I also recommend if you have containers, when you leave, you could fill up the container and you could bring it home with you so that you can drink it before bed and notice what you feel in your dreams. Okay? So if you want to have some more, you're welcome to come up and grab some. How's everyone feeling from that? The effects of the herbs, what you may be feeling is a lot of clarity and just an overall sense of well-being. This actually relaxes the body a lot, but it keeps the mind active and engaged. How was the flavoring of the tea? I think I added way too much stevia. It was too sweet for me. It tastes better the first time? She had the bitter one. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I went to very slowly, like, going myself. I actually thought about just downing it.
Well, I can really taste the stevia.
Yeah.
I can taste that underlying bitterness that wants to come through.
Yeah.
I get program my mind. If I know something is healthy and it's full of herbs, I will eat it. It's fine.
Yeah. Same thing happens with ayahuasca. You're just like, oh, I don't want to drink this.
No, man.
I get chills even just thinking about it.
Have you done ayahuasca?
Just a handful of times.
I did it for several weeks, for like 12 days, several ceremonies, and when the shamans grew ayahuasca, they kept it for the entire duration. So it kind of fermentates, and towards the end, it was really bad.
You get that last bitterness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything else, my senses were also triggered. That even the tobacco that I smoked around, I was so sensitive to any kind of smell. But I kept it in. I did.
You try the ayahuasca with my wine?
No.
It's sweet. It's a bit, I mean, it's not a walk in the park. It's still rather awful, but it's a bit sweeter. So it's more bearable. You actually take it. You know?
Did I have like just experience water?
Really?
Nice.
Okay. Who's the shaman?
Nice. Awesome. So we're gonna start moving on. If you haven't used the restroom, I recommend you use it so that you don't have to stand up during the meditation itself. And yeah, I'm gonna dim the lights also so that we can begin.